Welcome, seekers of wisdom, to a journey unlike any you've ever taken. Have you ever felt a whisper in your soul? A subtle tug that you are destined for something greater? Perhaps you've doubted your place in the world or questioned the narrative you've been told about who you truly are. Let me share this truth with you. The rarest treasures are hidden not in the world, but in the depths of the self. In today's episode, we will unravel the veil, peeling back the layers of illusion to reveal a truth so profound it might just shift the way you see yourself forever. But before we begin, if you're ready to uncover deeper mysteries and explore transformative insights, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and join our community of truth seekers. From the moment we take our first breath, the world begins to assign us labels. Gender, nationality, family roles, and professions. These identifiers follow us throughout life, shaping how we perceive ourselves and how others perceive us. But what if these labels are not the essence of who we are? What if they are merely the surface, disguising a deeper, eternal truth? Society thrives on classifications. It tells you to aspire to be a success, a leader, or even a believer, but these labels often trap us in boxes. The truth is that your soul cannot be confined to a name, title, or societal role. Who you are is not determined by what you do or the roles you play. Instead, your identity lies in something far greater, a reflection of divine beauty, the very image of God. This concept of being made in the Imago Dei, the image of God, is not a mere metaphor. It signifies that within every human being resides a spark of divinity, a connection to something infinite. This divine identity transcends the fleeting categories of this world, which are often imposed by culture, upbringing, or even religion. But escaping the mirage of identity requires courage. It requires you to confront the layers of illusion that have been built over the years, often by external voices that claim to know you better than you know yourself. Breaking free from these labels doesn't mean rejecting responsibilities or denying your experiences. Rather, it means recognizing that these are tools, not truths. They are aspects of your journey, not the destination. The world's definition of identity often leads to comparison, envy, and even self-doubt. We are taught to measure our worth against others' accomplishments or the expectations set by society. But when you understand that your value is rooted in divine creation, these comparisons lose their power. You no longer strive to be someone else, because you recognize that you are already enough, just as you are. Stepping beyond the mirage of identity is not a one-time act, but a daily practice. Through prayer, reflection, and mindful living, you can remind yourself of the truth. Your worth is not defined by what you do, but by who you are in the eyes of God. And in that truth, you find the freedom to live authentically and boldly. Every human being carries within them a divine spark, a reflection of eternity that whispers to the soul, reminding it of its sacred origin. This divine spark is not earned or acquired. It is inherent, placed within us by the Creator Himself. Yet, in the noise and chaos of daily life, it is easy to forget this truth. Many of us live as though we are separate from the divine, burdened by guilt, shame, or the belief that we are unworthy. But the teachings of Christ remind us that we are chosen, set apart, and called to greatness. This greatness, however, is not rooted in worldly achievements or accolades. It is found in our ability to recognize and nurture the eternal light within us. Think of this divine spark as a seed planted in your soul. Like any seed, It requires care, attention, and the right environment to grow. Neglect it, and it may lie dormant, buried under layers of doubt, fear, or distraction. But when you water it with faith, nourish it with prayer, and expose it to the light of God's love, it begins to flourish. Recognizing your divine spark means shifting your perspective. Instead of seeing yourself as a mere product of your circumstances, you begin to view yourself as a co-creator with God, an active participant in His plan for the world. This shift changes everything. It transforms how you see yourself, how you interact with others, and how you approach life's challenges. But what does it mean to truly live in awareness of this divine spark? It begins with stillness. The world is filled with distractions that pull us away from our true essence. By creating moments of silence and solitude, we allow the voice of God to echo in our hearts, reminding us of our purpose and worth. Living in recognition of your divine spark doesn't mean you will never face challenges or doubts. On the contrary, the path of the chosen is often fraught with trials. But these trials are not meant to break you. They are meant to refine you, to draw you closer to the divine and help you fulfill your higher calling. The divine spark within you is a gift, a reminder that no matter how dark the world may seem, light always prevails. Embrace this truth, and you will find the strength to rise above the illusions of the world, living as the person you were always meant to be. Many are called, but few are chosen. These words, often quoted yet rarely understood, reveal a profound spiritual truth. While the call to divine purpose extends to all, answering it requires a depth of commitment that few are willing to embrace. This is not because the path is exclusive, but because it demands a willingness to walk a road that diverges from the comforts of the world. The chosen are not selected based on merit, talent, or privilege. They are identified by their willingness to surrender. Surrender, in this sense, is not about giving up, but about letting go of ego, fear, and the need to control every outcome. It's about trusting that God's plan for your life is far greater than anything you could design for yourself. The road less traveled is often narrow and winding. It does not promise ease or immediate rewards, but it offers something far greater, a life of purpose, fulfillment, and eternal significance. Along this road, you will encounter resistance, not just from the world, but from within. Doubts will surface, temptations will arise, and there will be moments when the weight of the journey feels unbearable. But these challenges are not signs of failure. They are opportunities for growth. To walk this road requires faith, courage, and resilience. Faith to believe in the unseen, courage to face the unknown, and resilience to rise each time you stumble. The Bible is filled with examples of individuals who chose this path. Think of Moses, who left the riches of Egypt to lead his people through the wilderness. Or Mary, who accepted her divine role despite the personal cost. These stories remind us that being chosen is not about perfection, but about perseverance. But why are so few chosen? The answer lies in the willingness to respond. God calls out to every heart, but not every heart listens. Some are distracted by the noise of the world, while others are paralyzed by fear or self-doubt. The chosen are those who, despite their imperfections and uncertainties, say, "Here I am, Lord. Use me." If you feel the stirrings of this call within you, know that it is not an accident. The very fact that you are aware of it is evidence of your potential to rise. The question is not whether you are capable, but whether you are willing. Will you choose to walk the road less traveled and embrace the extraordinary life that awaits? From the moment we are born, the world begins to tell us a story about who we are and what we should become. These narratives, often crafted by culture, family, and even well-meaning institutions, can feel comforting at first. They provide structure and a sense of belonging. But over time, they can become chains, limiting your potential and obscuring your true identity. Breaking free from these false narratives is an act of courage. It begins with recognizing that many of the beliefs you hold about yourself may not be your own. Have you ever paused to ask yourself, who told me I'm not enough? Who decided what success should look like for me? These questions are the first step in dismantling the stories that no longer serve you. False narratives often thrive on fear and conformity. They tell you to play it safe, to follow the crowd, and to avoid rocking the boat. But the truth is, those who are chosen are called to disrupt the status quo. Consider the life of Jesus Christ. He challenged the religious and social norms of his time, not to create chaos, but to reveal a higher truth. As his followers, we are called to do the same. Breaking free requires not only introspection, but action. It means surrounding yourself with voices that uplift and inspire, rather than those that sow doubt and discouragement. It means being willing to question long-held assumptions, even if it makes others uncomfortable. And most importantly, it means turning to God for guidance, trusting that He will lead you toward your true identity. This process of disruption is not easy. The world often resists change, and you may face criticism or rejection from those who do not understand your journey. But remember this: the chosen are not meant to blend in. They are meant to stand out. Your willingness to disrupt false narratives is not an act of rebellion. It is an act of faith. When you begin to live in alignment with your true identity, you become a force for change in the world. You inspire others to question their own narratives and to seek the truth within themselves. This ripple effect is the power of the chosen. By breaking free, you not only transform your own life, but also create a path for others to do the same. To be chosen is not merely a privilege. It is a profound responsibility. While the idea of being set apart might sound appealing, the reality is that it comes with a weight, a calling to rise above the ordinary and to live with intention, purpose, and sacrifice. The question is not whether you are capable, but whether you are prepared to embrace the responsibility that comes with being chosen. When you are called to greatness, the expectations placed upon you change. You are no longer living solely for yourself, but for a higher purpose. This can feel overwhelming at times, especially when the world around you does not share or understand your vision. You may feel isolated or misunderstood, but these feelings are part of the refinement process. They teach you resilience, humility, and the importance of reliance on God. Carrying the weight of responsibility also means confronting your fears and limitations. Being chosen does not mean you are perfect or without flaws. It means you are willing to grow, to be molded by God into the person He created you to be. This process often involves stepping out of your comfort zone, facing challenges, and enduring trials that test your faith and character. Think of the biblical figures who bore the weight of being chosen. Noah was tasked with building an ark in a world that mocked him. Esther risked her life to save her people. Jesus carried the cross for the salvation of humanity. These stories remind us that responsibility and sacrifice go hand in hand. but they also show us that God equips those he calls. Living as one of the chosen requires discipline. It means prioritizing your spiritual growth through prayer, scripture, and service. It means resisting the distractions and temptations of the world that seek to pull you away from your purpose. And it means being a light to others, even when it feels inconvenient or difficult. Yet, this responsibility is not a burden to be feared, but a privilege to be embraced. To be chosen is to be entrusted with a divine mission, a unique role in God's plan for the world. When you rise to this calling, you experience a sense of fulfillment and joy that cannot be found in worldly pursuits. You realize that the weight you carry is not yours alone. God walks with you every step of the way, offering his strength and guidance. Transformation is the hallmark of the chosen. When God calls you, he does not leave you as you are. Instead, he begins a process of renewal, shaping you into the person you were always meant to be. This transformation is not instantaneous. It is a journey that requires patience, faith, and a willingness to let go of the old to make way for the new. One of the most powerful examples of transformation in the Bible is the story of Saul, who became Paul. Once a persecutor of Christians, Paul's encounter with Christ on the road to Damascus changed the course of his life forever. He went from being an enemy of the faith to one of its greatest champions, writing letters that continue to inspire millions today. This story reminds us that no one is beyond the reach of God's transformative power. But transformation is not always dramatic or visible. Often, it happens quietly in the small daily decisions to choose faith over fear, love over anger, and purpose over complacency. It is a process of becoming more aligned with God's will, shedding the parts of yourself that no longer serve your divine purpose. Embracing the new you requires trust. Trust in God's plan, even when it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. It means being open to change and willing to step into roles or situations that challenge you. This might involve letting go of old habits, relationships, or mindsets that are holding you back. It might mean stepping into leadership, using your gifts to serve others, or simply living with more integrity and authenticity. Transformation also requires community. While your journey is personal, it is not meant to be walked alone. Surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals who encourage and support your growth can make all the difference. These connections provide accountability, inspiration, and a reminder that you are not alone in your struggles or triumphs. Ultimately, the gift of transformation is a testament to God's love. He sees not just who you are, but who you can become, and he is willing to guide you every step of the way. When you embrace this process, you begin to see yourself through his eyes, a beloved child, chosen and equipped for a purpose greater than you can imagine. In a world filled with noise and endless distractions, hearing the voice of God can feel like an impossible task. Yet the truth is that God is always speaking. He whispers to our hearts, nudges us through circumstances, and guides us through his word. The challenge is not whether he is speaking, but whether we are listening. The voice of God is not like the clamor of the world. It is gentle, subtle, and often easy to overlook. Elijah experienced this when he sought God on Mount Horeb. He expected to find him in the wind, the earthquake, and the fire. But God's presence was found in the still, small voice. This teaches us an important lesson. To hear God, we must cultivate stillness in our lives. Practically, this means creating intentional spaces for silence and solitude. In these moments, we quiet the external noise and turn our focus inward, allowing ourselves to become receptive to God's presence. This can be done through prayer, meditation, or simply sitting in stillness, acknowledging His sovereignty. Hearing God's voice also requires discernment. Not every thought or feeling comes from Him, and the enemy often seeks to sow confusion. To discern God's voice, we must align our hearts with His truth as revealed in Scripture. His voice will never contradict His word. It will always lead us toward love, humility, and righteousness. One of the greatest barriers to hearing God is the fear of what He might say. Many of us avoid listening because we worry that His call will require us to change, to step out of our comfort zones, or to confront painful truths. But God's voice is never meant to harm us. Even when He challenges us, it is for our growth and ultimate good. Listening to God is not just about receiving guidance. It is about building a relationship. The more we tune into His voice, the more familiar it becomes. Over time, this connection grows, and we begin to recognize His presence in every aspect of our lives. Hearing God's voice is not a skill reserved for the spiritual elite. It is a gift available to all who seek Him with an open heart. Living as one of the chosen means walking in purpose. It is not enough to know that you are called. You must actively align your life with that calling. This requires intentionality, courage, and a deep reliance on God. The first step in aligning with your purpose is understanding it. What has God placed on your heart? What unique gifts and talents has He given you? These are not random. They are clues to your divine assignment. Reflect on your passions, experiences, and the ways you feel called to serve. Through prayer and introspection, you can begin to uncover the specific role God has designed for you. Once you have clarity, the next step is to take action. Purpose is not fulfilled through wishful thinking. It requires effort and commitment. This might mean pursuing new opportunities, stepping into leadership, or dedicating time and resources to causes that align with your calling. It also means being willing to make sacrifices, whether it's giving up comfort, security, or the approval of others. Walking in purpose also requires perseverance. The path of the chosen is rarely easy. There will be obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But these challenges are not meant to deter you. They are meant to strengthen you. They test your faith and resilience, preparing you for the greater responsibilities that lie ahead. Community plays a vital role in this journey. Surround yourself with people who share your vision and values. These individuals can provide encouragement, accountability, and wisdom. At the same time, be mindful of those who may try to discourage or distract you. Not everyone will understand your purpose, but that does not make it any less valid. Above all, walking in purpose means staying connected to God. Your calling is not something you fulfill on your own. It is a partnership with the Creator. Through prayer, worship, and a consistent relationship with Him, you gain the strength, guidance, and inspiration needed to stay the course. Living in alignment with your purpose is not just about achieving goals. It is about becoming the person God created you to be. When you walk in purpose, you experience a sense of fulfillment and peace that comes from knowing you are living out your divine destiny. And so, we come to the end of this journey, but not the end of the calling. The truths we've explored today about breaking free from false identities, embracing transformation, and walking in purpose are not just ideas to consider, they are challenges to live out. Remember this: being chosen is not about being perfect or having all the answers. It is about being willing to say yes to God, even when the path is uncertain. It is about trusting that He has equipped you for the journey and that He will never leave your side. As you move forward, carry this wisdom with you. The light within you was placed there to shine. Do not hide it, and do not let the world dim it. Step boldly into your calling, for the world needs what you have to offer. If this message has resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you're ready to continue exploring the mysteries of faith and purpose, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and join our community. Until next time, walk boldly in grace, and may your light illuminate the